How do we deal with difficult emotions? I'm sure, like I have, you've experienced a difficult emotion and it seemed to come out of nowhere. Like your day's going well, but you just feel sad or you just feel anxious about something. You don't really know what it is. Or it might be something small triggered you and all of these random feelings are coming up. And you ask yourself, like, what's wrong with me? Why am I so upset from something so small? Or it could be something has actually happened to you, a really horrible event, and then of course you're going to be experiencing difficult emotions. So that's what I'm here to talk to you about. We're in this journey, we're given these crazy emotions, and part of this journey is to learn how do we manage them and how can we experience them in a way, manage them in a way that can best help us in life. So from my experience in looking at mainstream mental health, it doesn't really give us a clear roadmap to handle this. Like, I was never taught that this is how you do it. Here's the step process of working out your emotions or managing your emotions. And I feel like a lot of us are in this boat. We don't really have a clear understanding. So a big part of my passion and what I'm trying to do is trying to find a roadmap, trying to find easy steps that every person can access and manage and step by step work themselves through these steps, or with someone being supported through the steps to helping them deal with their emotions, manage their emotions, so they can actually learn to love them. Now, again, on this mainstream, looking at regular emotions, a lot of the time with these disorders that lots of people are being diagnosed with, we're linking emotions to disorders. For example, lots of people experience anxiety, which is very normal. Then we go to seek help, and the standard help is to be diagnosed with an anxiety disorder and then potentially medicated for that. Now that's a step, that's progress, but if we're just looking at through that lens and we stop there, we're really going to be stunted because we have a disorder now. There's something wrong with us. What do I do with this? How can I progress and learn to manage my emotions when there's just something wrong with me? I have a disorder, chemical imbalance, nothing I can control. That's just me. I inherited this, for example. Whatever the narrative is. Now, I think that's very limited, and that's just one of the steps. We need to transcend that step and look at how can I now take responsibility for my own emotions. How can I now learn to manage these emotions and disconnect from there being something wrong with me. It's really important that we know that emotions are normal. We all experience fear. We all experience worry. We all experience anxiety. There's nothing wrong with me. That doesn't mean I have a disorder. Just because some people might experience these emotions a lot more than others, yes, that can be debilitating sometimes. But again, that can be linked to other things that have happened in our lives, and there's nothing really fundamentally wrong with us. I truly believe that. So, looking at kind of like the current / old paradigm, I want to inspire you to take that next step into taking responsibility of your own emotions. If you're listening to this, you're definitely someone that does want to take responsibility, take your own development into your own hands and be empowered to take more control over your emotions, over your life, so you can have a better life. That's what we're really here to do. That's why I'm really inspired to talk on this topic with you. Now, I want to cut through all of these vague suggestions and and give you a really clear understanding of what I've learned, and give you some clear steps that you can take to improve your mental health and help you manage your emotions better. Now to go to specifically to the how. Now I'm going to talk to you specifically about something called somatic experiencing. So there's an amazing man called Dr. Peter Levine, who is the originator of somatic experiencing and the director of the Somatic Experiencing Trauma Institute. He holds a doctorate degrees in medical biophysics and psychology and has been awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award from the United States Association for Body Physiotherapy. He really knows what he's talking about. He's had so much experience one-on-one with people, working through their emotions, their responses from their traumatic experiences that they have experienced. And he has come up with this amazing technique or strategy called somatic experiencing to help you work through your emotions. So this approach has been super powerful for me personally, and I do believe that this kind of approach and idea and attitude towards our emotions will become the new way we think and handle and deal with our emotions. Now, before I go into the technique and how it works, I'm going to give you a bit of a background of what's happening when these emotions are coming up for us. So like, what is the process? What's the step-by-step? And now, as a big generalization, obviously we're all very different, we all have our different experiences, but I'm trying to give you a blanket idea that happens for most of us so we can kind of understand our own psychology and what's happening in our body. So let's go back to that example of anxiety. When we're feeling things of anxiety, we're worried about something, we're feeling fear about what might happen in the future, there's something that's actually happening in our body. So usually I feel fear or anxiety, I feel in my gut. I feel like this tight knot and like this pain in my gut, in my abdomen. And it's like an actual physical feeling. It's a physical response. And then we think about the feeling. So usually in the beginning, with like something triggers it. Maybe I think, oh, I got work tomorrow. It's Monday tomorrow, and I got work. I'm worried about what's going to happen. Then I feel this tight knot in my stomach. Then I think about the tight knot and think, oh gosh, I'm really anxious. Then I think things are going to go bad tomorrow because I feel anxious. That means something really bad is going to happen. And then I think of all the possibilities of what's going to go wrong. And then I feel even more fear and anxiety in my body because I'm imagining all of these things going wrong. And it just compounds, and it just becomes this cycle of thinking about the worst case scenario, feeling the worst case scenario, and then it just compounds. So it's this thought feeling loop that just gets worse and worse. Some of us are not really even conscious that we're having these thoughts. Sometimes the thoughts are there, and they're kind of like, it's like a train. It gets momentum and it just keeps going, and you're not even really aware that you're on the train, but it's just the train's going to the worst case scenario, and you're just on board, you're feeling all these crazy emotions, and you're along with the ride. Sometimes you can even just be like, wow, I'm actually here, I'm having these crazy thoughts, they are crazy, do I really need to listen to them? But that's a whole nother topic on presence and mindfulness that we'll go into later. But we're just talking about what's going on at the moment. Now, in this whole process of the thoughts and feeling loop, what most of us do in this situation, the whole time this is happening, we're resisting these thoughts and feelings. So on top and sprinkled all over around this situation, we have resistance, because we don't want these thoughts and feelings here. So on top of the uncomfortable feeling of anxiety and fear and worry, we have resistance. And resistance is like a sensation in our body as well. We can tighten up, and resistance can also be like a mental state. So we don't want them there. We're resisting them. We wish these feelings and thoughts would go away. Trying to push them away. And we can, for sure, I felt this, we shame ourselves as well. That can be a part of the resistance. I feel, what's wrong with me? Something wrong with me because I'm feeling fear. I shouldn't be scared what's going to happen tomorrow, but I am, and I want it to go away. So there's lots going on, as you can tell, but there's this thought and feeling loop, and then there's resistance on top. Now, talking from my perspective, with the resistance, especially for men, in my experience, we don't want to feel these things. Shame can be so fierce because, as a man, we shouldn't be feeling the narrative we're told that we shouldn't be feeling these feelings. We shouldn't be feeling scared. We shouldn't be feeling frightened, and because of that, I resist the emotion even more. I want it to go away even more. Now, what do we do? What's the normal thing we do when all of this is happening? We're pushing it away, trying to get rid of it. The only option we have is to distract ourselves. Forget about it. Tune out. Think about something different. Do something different. So we need to feel something different as well. Now, what's the best way to feel something different, to change our state? Insert any addiction. Think of something that makes you feel better. I feel way better when I just tune out, watch a movie, go on YouTube, eat something delicious. All of these things make us tune out, avoid the feeling, and we can almost forget about it. And that's how addictions play out in our lives. So usually, if you've experienced quite strong addictions, there's usually quite a strong pattern and pain that I was experiencing where there's so much resistance and there's so much hurt. And the need for the addiction is so high because of that pain is so high. I need to tune out so much so that I'm going to blindly drink until I can't feel anymore. That's how it plays out from my experience. Now, I want to go so in depth into addiction. That is an amazing and very important topic. I'm not going to go too far because we're really talking about the specific management of emotions in this video. So that's usually the cycle and the resistance, and then the avoidance and the tuning out to feel something different, because we really don't know what to do with these emotions. We're not taught. So that's just an overview I wanted to give you. Now I want to go back to the technique. This is where the technique comes in, so we can actually learn what to do about these feelings and emotions in our body. So firstly, about this technique, somatic experiencing. So somatic, it essentially just means the body. So we're experiencing the body. Now, this requires to feel and to be present within our body. So it's about tuning in, not even need to think, just almost like looking down. If, for example, if you're closing your eyes, if you look down into your body with your eyes and feeling into your stomach, if that's where the sensations are, thinking, what do they feel like? What is it, the sensation? Is it moving? Is it tight? Is it sharp? All of these descriptive words so we can kind of get a sensation of what our body is experiencing. Now, with this technique of somatic experiencing, of just feeling into our body, it's very important that we aren't labeling or judging ourselves and our body for experiencing what we're experiencing. So being present, focusing on the sensation in our body, gives our body permission to actually feel without the usual judgment and resistance that is there. That's the biggest issue that I found, and lots of people I've worked with, is there's this level of resistance over all of the like quote unquote negative emotions that most of us don't want to experience or don't know how to. There's a resistance there. So once we just be present within our body, that resistance kind of switches off because we're giving our body permission to feel this. The body actually feels that it's okay for me to feel this now. And it can be really difficult in the beginning because sometimes this is almost like a meditative practice to be present within our body and feel what we're feeling. And that takes time, that takes practice to be able to be present in our body. So don't beat yourself up for that. It's a practice. Learning to be present is a muscle. This process can be quite amazing because once you give your body permission, without judgment, without resistance, without shame, the emotions want to be expressed. They want to leave. It wants to be discharged. Like it's our natural state to feel fear and then go back to calm. We're not meant to be, like biologically, we're not meant to be in stress, fight or flight all the time. Our body wants to go back to calm. But because of lots of different things, and mainly our mind resisting this whole process, we're not allowing our body to go through the processes that it needs to go back to calm, to go back to safety. So that's what this technique is allowing us to do, getting the mind out of the way, getting resistance and judgment and shame out of the way, and allowing our body to process what it needs to go back to calm. Now, if you're doing this, and it's just like I said, it's a muscle, but if you do really fully give yourself permission, it can be quite intense because there might be lots of residual emotion that's been kind of built up over years, and it might feel like it might want to burst out, and it can be overwhelming. So only really experience what you feel that you can experience in that time. And then it's okay if you want to distract yourself and just tune out because it's just a bit too intense. Like, that's okay. We shame that process of like what addictions are for us, but they're amazing. They help us to cope. And if you're on your own and you're doing this practice and it becomes too intense, for sure, go tune out, go outside, do something different, because at that stage, it's just too intense for your body to experience what it really needs to. So you kind of break it down bit by bit and slowly chip away, like you're letting imagine a really shaken up bottle of like soft drink. As our emotions is so bottled up, so tight, and once you start to give your body permission and you're slowly releasing this cap, it's gonna start to want to kind of really explode. So you're just slowly twisting it, slowly working through it slowly, so that you can slowly let the gas out, slowly, bit by bit, discharge lots of this emotion. So ideally, you have someone there that can be present for you and can support you through this. Obviously, ideally, someone who has worked through all of this themselves, that knows how to be present to themselves when they're experiencing challenging emotions. If they can't be present to themselves, how can they be present to you? That's really important to know. And ideally, this person is is trained and has experience. So obviously that's what I do. It's what I'm passionate here talking to you about, and I am definitely available for people who do want to really take control, do something about this, because it is really affecting their lives at the moment. So going back to the bottle, if we completely rip open the lid, it's obviously going to explode, and sometimes that can be like almost re-traumatizing, that we're going straight to really intense emotions that might remind us of horrible experiences that we have experienced. So that's why I'm saying very important to just take this slowly, be kind to yourself, take it bit by bit, and you might feel every time you release that cap a little bit, you'll feel lighter. There's less pressure in your body, and you feel like there's more space because you've let go of something that needed to be released within your body. So that's the practice. It's very simple. It's just about being present to the sensations. When it comes up, when I feel anxious, I'm not thinking about, oh, why do I feel anxious? I shouldn't be like beating myself up. I'm thinking, okay, let's feel this. Be present. Check in to my body. What's going on? And then the crazy thing is, I have experienced this. Once you allow your body, you check in, and the resistance isn't there anymore, it actually becomes like something that is a beautiful thing to experience. Like especially things like sadness. I've really been trying to go on this journey of actually wanting to experience sadness, wanting to, like, I've opened the bottle and I'm like trying to pour more of the stuff out. I'm trying to empty my bottle of all the gunk that I have experienced and bottled up over my life, and all of these traumatic experiences. I really want them gone, and you might resonate with that. It's like, you don't serve me anymore. Yes, this protective mechanism that I once had as a young child to try and keep myself safe and bottle up my emotions, that did help. But now it's dragging me down, and I'm like searching for all of those opportunities to experience more sadness and experience and let that bottle out. And like I was saying, once we stop resisting the emotion, it doesn't become a bad thing anymore. You know, the whole idea of negative emotions, bad emotions, try to avoid all of those labels, because all emotions are just emotions, but our inability to experience them makes them bad. Because I don't know what to do with sadness, or it makes me feel uncomfortable, or it makes me feel shame, and all of these learnt things is the reason why I think sadness is bad. But once I actually flip it over and I actually try to invite sadness in, and I actually welcome it and I want it there, it becomes like this beautiful thing. And I've just like loved just like watching, you know, some videos, and they just make me cry, and I just feel amazing because I'm like, yes, I'm crying, and like that just feels so wholesome. So wherever you are on this journey, even if you're just starting to learn about emotions and trying to really get this grasp, it's all okay. We're all on this journey that's lifelong. My bottle's never going to be empty. Going back to that idea, like, I'm on this beautiful lifelong journey of just learning how to experience myself, learning how to live the best life that I possibly can.